Hey, what if I told you that I found the most straightest path to success from where you are now to where you want to be in life, the straightest, fastest path, most irrefutable path to success, no matter what category in life? Would you want to know what that is? Because I'm going to share it with you right here and now. Guys, welcome to the channel. As you know, my name is Bedros Keuilian. Those of you that are brand new, welcome to the channel. You're going to get a lot out of this channel, so feel free to subscribe, like, leave a comment, and pay it forward to others who will benefit from this. All right, so check this out. Yesterday was my 400th private one-on-one coaching client. I coach and consult entrepreneurs because over the last 21 years, I've built, scaled, and sold companies. And so over the last 17 years, I've been coaching and consulting entrepreneurs who want to do the same. No matter what industry of business that they're in, I help them scale their businesses and get better at leadership and plug in better marketing systems and sales systems and learn how to hire and fire the right way. And of course, how to take the right people and put them on the bus in the right seats of the bus, like Jim Collins says in his book, Good to Great, so that they could grow faster and have more time freedom. At the end of the day, you don't start a business because you're like, well, how can I be locked up by my business and basically be handcuffed by my business and feel like I'm in the trenches working 60, 80, 100 hours a week. You ultimately at some point want to get to a place where you want to scale and be able to also enjoy a good quality of life. And that is where obviously a good business mentor who has done it and has a track record of doing it comes in handy. So over the last 17 years, 400 clients now. We celebrated the 400th client yesterday. And what I found is there is a formula to the type of people that get results, right? And so I should also preface this by saying that majority, about 90% of my coaching clients in my Domination Year program are males. Right? They are males and they have a very specific way of thinking. And so what I found is it's easy to give the business plan to someone, right? In life, you can give the business plan to someone. And it doesn't matter, like I've got clients who are in construction. I've got clients that own gyms like this. I've got clients who are, online coaches. I've got clients that are in real estate. I've got clients that do solar. So the business itself doesn't matter. One of my coaching clients, he has a truck driving school, right? He went from one truck driving school to 15 truck driving schools within 12 months. But no matter the business model, I found that there's a specific thing that helps these guys get to their goals faster. Time collapse, if you will, right? And that's really what you're paying a mentor for. Like no one's going to pay me $100,000 for me to go, I think I have a plan, right? You're paying me $100,000 for a year of coaching for me to go, hey, based on what you've told me, the industry that you're in, my experience over all these years that I've built my companies and I've helped others build companies, here's the fastest path to your success. And then you as the entrepreneur, founder, leader, CEO have to go out and execute, right? Without execution, you've got nothing. And that's kind of what this is all about. And so it is up to me and my client, when we're sitting in that conference room, to come up with a blueprint, right? What I call the business plan. And everybody's business plan is unique and individual to their business, to where they are currently in their business, to what their goals are, to how much time freedom they want, how many multiple income streams they want, what profit margins they want. Do they want to raise money? Do they want to be debt free and use their own money? All those factors, but it's very specific to the individual. But no matter what, we're always dealing with the business plan. They walk out of that conference room with the business plan. And then of course, we've got our monthly coaching calls. And then we've got 6 months later, another half day in-person meetup. So as I'm trying to set the scene here for you, that it's a very personal relationship that I have with my coaching clients. And so when you work with 400 people over 17 years who are kind of driven, type A, ambitious people, you get to see some factors and you go, why did that guy make it? And why did that guy not make it or take longer to get there, right? And I want to share that with you because if you've got plans in life in terms of growing your business, or maybe you work for someone and you're like, how do I excel up faster in someone else's business so I can have the promotion and title, I can have the promotion and pay, I can have a better quality of life for me and my family, or how can I get better in my relationship, right? There's ways to time collapse and get the results that you're after. And I'm going to share that with you here. Every time we make the business plan and I hand it over, right, metaphorically, because we're doing it on a marker board and we're recording the whole thing and they get to see it, etc. And they're taking notes. Every time I hand them the business plan and they go out and execute, I found that it's not always an executable business plan if the businessman is not dialed in, right? So for the longest time, I used to focus on the business plan. In other words, hey, here's how you were going to grow your business. Here's the marketing funnels we're going to use. Here's the sales process we're going to have. Here's how we're going to create better systems so that you can rely on your systems and not on individuals to run your company. Here's how you're going to set core values in your company so that you can hire and fire based on your company's core values. Here's how you're going to be a servant leader and not just a manager of people, right? So everybody walks out with that business plan. But what I found is when the businessman is not dialed in, the business plan does not get executed, right? So it doesn't matter if it's your relationship with your kids, your relationship with your spouse, if it's your goal for your fitness, if it's your goal for scaling and growing your business, or if it's a goal to really level up in someone else's organization and become a leader. Go from working in the ranks and files to developing yourself into a leader in someone else's organization so you can make more money and have a better title and have more freedom, right? Well, all of those things are a byproduct of the businessman, right? Because the business plan is usually the same. It's some form of marketing, some form of sales, some form of leadership, some form of content creation, some form of paid ads, some form of systems and processes, and some form of core values, etc. So the business plan is the business plan, but the businessman who's not dialed in will tend to self-sabotage, right? And so what I found is once we're able to dial in the businessman, we are able to execute on the business plan. And here's what I mean. How does a dialed in businessman look? Hey guys, quick interruption to the show. Let me tell you all about the Trulene Wellness Shot. If you're like me and you care about your health, hydration, and building a strong immune system so you can stay active and you can get after it in life, then you want to try the Trulene Wellness Shot. I used to take 11 different supplements in the morning, things like vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin B12, echinacea, ginger, and a whole bunch more. Now it's all included in the Trulene Wellness Shot. I want to send you a 30-day supply for 50% off. Just go to Trulene.com, use the code word BEDROAST, my name, to get 50% off. You'll also get free shipping. You get a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee, and $1 of every order goes to Shriners Children's Hospital. And when you use the code word BEDROAST and do the subscribe and save, which is a Trulene Tribe program, every month you'll get a fresh supply of Trulene Wellness Shots for an additional 20% off and free shipping, and $1 of every monthly order will go to Shriners Children's Hospital. So go to Trulene.com, use code word BEDROAST, and take advantage of this amazing offer. Now back to the show. A dialed-in businessman looks like this. One, he works on his fitness. He works on his fitness. So in other words, he trains, works out in a gym, outdoors, pull-ups, push-ups, bodyweight squats, but he is strong. He pushes himself through a tough workout where he's sore, he sweats, it's uncomfortable, he's huffing and puffing, right? This builds resiliency. This builds confidence in yourself. This builds a level of ability to eat shit, if you will, right? Your ability to push through hard things when things get hard rather than quitting, because it's not easy to come to the gym every day if you're sore, if you're tired, if it's cold, if it's hot, if it's raining, if you're stressed, if you didn't sleep well, and still do the workouts anyway, right? So a dude who is consistently working out 5 to 6 days a week, and he's consistently eating clean, attacking his macros, right? His desired amounts or his necessary amounts, not your desired amounts, because sometimes you'll eat your desired amounts of food and you become a fat jerk, and you don't want that. What you want to do is eat your necessary amounts of macros, proteins, fats, and carbs to be able to get to that body that you want. A body that has abs, a body that is lean and jacked, a body that has strength and speed and endurance and is able to resist stress. Make no mistake about it. What you eat and how you train determine how much mental clarity you have, determine how much stress you can handle, and determine your level of confidence. Because when you look good and you feel good and you have energy, you're just a more confident person and you're clear-headed, right? And that's a good thing. So thing number one is fitness. And the second thing is this: resiliency. So the second thing I think is even more important, believe it or not, and that's crazy coming from me because I'm always talking about get in shape, eat right, train, work out. But resiliency is the second thing. When the businessman is resilient and he has a routine to dial in his health and fitness in terms of workouts and nutrition, he is able to execute the business plan like no one's business, and he gets his results faster, time collapses. And so how do we build ourselves into resilient humans, you ask? That's a great question. Resiliency is a byproduct of taking a punch, falling down, and getting back up, right? So while I'm not saying go out there, join a fight club, and take a punch to the face, I am saying you might want to consider doing hard things that put you way out of your comfort zone. So I started these 6-week challenges in 2010 for myself. I realized the more resilient I am, the more the more I can turn up the thermostat in terms of how much shit I can eat, how much stress I can handle, right? The better I become as an entrepreneur, the better I become in my relationships, the better I become in the way I lead. Because someone who's stressed and overwhelmed and depressed and anxious and sad is not going to be a great husband, a great father, a great leader, a great entrepreneur. And so resiliency helps you build this ability to fight off stress and cope with stress in a way that you can still push through and make the right decisions almost every time, right? No one can make the right decisions every single time, but we can make the right decisions almost every time if we are resilient and we are clear-headed and confident, right? So resiliency is a byproduct of constantly challenging yourself. So in 2010, I started these 6-week challenges. The first one was because I hated running. I never ran. I was uncomfortable running. I always said I'm someone who lifts weights. And so when you do that, you end up really pitting yourself into a corner. And I found that I was like, man, what if I can be a great runner? So I hired a running coach, trained for 6 weeks, and guess what I did? I ran a marathon. I ran the San Diego Marathon and finished it in 5 hours and like 14 minutes. It wasn't like any record-breaking time, but to train for 6 weeks at 230 pounds, 6 feet tall, and to run the San Diego Marathon at the end of 6 weeks and finish it in just 5 hours and some odd minutes, like that's not bad. So then I was like, what else am I leaving on the table? Like how much more am I leaving on the table? And that marathon, by the way, you could find that in the first comment. I've linked it down below in the first comment. My marathon challenge is absolutely free for you. It's a 6-week marathon challenge. The entire marathon training program is there for you from my coach who made my training program. The entire nutrition and recovery program is there for you. And 6 weeks of mindset and motivation for you as well. Absolutely free. Just click the link in that first comment that I've pinned. Hopefully I've remembered to pin that for you or someone on my team has. All right, so onward. So I kept doing challenge after challenge after challenge. What else am I afraid of doing? Or is that in my comfort zone? How about salsa dancing? How about rock climbing? Because I was afraid of heights, right? How about guitar lessons? How about jujitsu? How about surfing? How about improv? And before you know it, I kept doing these 6-week challenges and pushing myself out of my comfort zone. Every 6-week challenge ended up building more resiliency. It's not just the thing that you do at the end of the 6 weeks where you're like, yay, I did it. I crossed that finish line, or I did that, 8-minute bit on stage at the end of 6 weeks of improv. It's every week and every day as you're training for this thing, as you're learning, as you are pushing yourself, as you're developing new motor patterns, as you're screaming at the top of your lungs because you're taking an improv class and everyone in there is a professional actor and comedian and you're like, what the fuck, man? I'm just an entrepreneur and I'm trying to break out of my comfort zone. But you realize that you're going to have to do this if you want to end up on stage at the end of 6 weeks and to be able to actually knock it out of the park, right? And that's relative what knock it out of the park means. Like I said, in 6 weeks, you may not develop the highest level of competence, but you can develop a very high level of confidence. And confident people who push through hardship intentionally end up being some of the most resilient people. Like you go join your local jiu-jitsu or MMA academy and you start rolling and you start learning how to frame and how to set up positions and submissions and how to control your stress response when someone's attacking you on the mats in a controlled environment. Holy hell, tell me that doesn't build resilience. In the very beginning of my jiu-jitsu journey, I was like, man, if I could just last the 6 minutes until the bell rings, I'm good. Now I find myself thinking while I'm being attacked and protecting myself and figuring out how could I sweep this person, get on top, get in a great position to be able to deploy a submission, right? And all of a sudden you realize, man, if I could think under chaos in this circumstance, imagine what I could do. Imagine what I could do in business. So understand this, no matter how effective the business plan is, no matter how much YouTube videos you watch, books you read, business plans you get from mentors and coaches like me, until the businessman is dialed in, is resilient, fit, and healthy, you are not going to be able to reach those goals completely. You're going to just get close and then self-sabotage. Maybe this has happened to you where you've gotten close, and then you self-sabotage and slide back. Get close, self-sabotage and slide back. I don't want that for you. So if the message hits with you, please do me a favor and subscribe to this channel because 74% of you are not subscribed. If you got value from this, if there's any other things that I'm missing, if you think there's some other component, like I said, this took me 17 years, 400 one-on-one coaching clients, working with them individually at a very intimate level for 12 months each. These are the things that I discovered. When we make the business plan, it's the businessman that we have to dial in first to execute the business plan. But tell me what else you think I'm missing. Leave it in the comment section. Thank you all so much for watching and listening to this show. Peace out.